Who are the U.S. men's national team's best forwards? Essentially, the wingers and the center forwards. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, host of Tactical Manager TV, and this is a channel series where every 2 months we're going to be updating you on the U.S. men's national team depth chart of the defense, the midfield, and the attack, or the forwards. So this one will be the forwards. This episode, we already have done the defense, we already have done the midfield, so you can check that out in the playlist. 2 months from now, we're going to update it, and this episode is going to go this way. We're going to have 8 wingers and 6 center forwards. And look, Giovanni Reyna has only played as a winger for the U.S. men's national team so far, so he is in the wingers poll for now. That might change in October when Berhalter starts to play him central. Brenden Aaronson as well is also a winger. With all that said, guys, make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed this series so we can keep it going. And since we're approaching the MLS Liga MX All-Star Game, let's hear from our sponsors giveaway. Thank you, OneFootball, once again for sponsoring the channel. But look. This one's not about us. This is about you. Because OneFootball is doing a giveaway for our viewers. So thank you very much, OneFootball. But let me explain. For the month of August, we have an amazing event. The MLS All-Star Game versus the Liga MX. You know, just another opportunity for the United States to crush Mexico like we did all summer long. We can just keep it rolling for another win. So for this, OneFootball will be doing a giveaway of one MLS All-Star 2021 jersey for a fan based in the United States. So go on the link down below, do your download, follow the instructions, and enter the giveaway. I might enter it myself. So thank you once again, OneFootball, for the giveaway. Thank you for sponsoring the channel, and hopefully the United States can continue to beat Mexico on the MLS versus Liga MX All-Star Game. Okay, let's put on the beautiful intro with our beautiful logo, the same colors as Austin FC, and let's get this. Okay, let's start the wingers. And look, most of these wingers can play as a right wing or a left wing. So I'm not going to divide it by right wingers or left wingers. I'm just going to put wingers in general. All right. And obviously the number one has to be everyone's winger. It's Christian Pulisic. And make sure to comment down below your winger poll and your center forward poll just to have it saved. So when we update in 2 months, you can see what changed. But let's go. Christian Pulisic. Right now, there's no question that Christian Pulisic is still our best player. And if he stays healthy, we know what he's capable of. One of our best players on one-on-one situations. He can play on the right wing or the left wing. I personally prefer him on the left wing, pinching middle. He's pretty good in the half spaces as well. And I'm fine with him playing on the right wing if needed. But let's keep him on the left wing for now. So when he plays on the left wing, he'll likely score more. When he plays on the right wing, he'll be more of an assist first guy because he'll go down the lane for crosses. Left wing, he'll cut middle to score, as we've seen several times in Chelsea. Now, my second option has to be Giovanni Reyna, because as of now, he's still a winger for the U.S. men's national team. So Gio Reyna is probably the American with the highest ceiling right now, probably even higher than Pulisic. I do think he's better as a 10 or as an 8, and we have seen Mark Rose play him that way for Dortmund. But as of now, for the U.S. men's national team, he will be a winger because that's where Greg has always played him. So yes, we have Gio Reyna at the wing, but now let's go to maybe actual wingers, our number 3, 4, and 5, which I'm going to talk about all of them combined. All right, so I know I said true wingers, but actually one of these 3 that I'm about to talk about, number 3, 4, and 5, one of them is not a true winger, which is Brenden Aaronson. But let me give you my rank. My number 3 is Conrad de la Fuente, my number 4 is Timothy Weah, and my 5th is Brenden Aaronson, mostly because Brenden is not a true winger, and he's not even playing as a winger for RB Salzburg as well. In regards to Conrad de la Fuente, I know many might call me out on a recency bias, but this player brings something different to the table, some flair. He has what I call a Brazilian swagger, even though he has no ties to Brazil at all. He's been absolutely fantastic for Olympique Marseille early in the season, and honestly, I think he brings in something somewhat similar to Christian Pulisic. Not on the way he plays, but on the 1v1 situations. Having Conrad on one wing and Pulisic on one wing is going to be terrible for defense to deal with that. 2 players that can beat their fullbacks or center backs on the dribble. Now look, I think Conrad's very underrated at times because he used to play for Barcelona B, but many don't understand how hard it is to break through the Barcelona's first team. He's playing for a top 5 league on a top team as well. Olympique Marseille is no joke. And he's killing it already. Absolutely fantastic. If he can keep that consistent, he has to be our 3rd winger. And maybe there's some recency bias right there, but I'm putting Conrad number 3. Number 4, Timothy Weah, a super sub for lead, and I think he can be very effective on the right wing, but I wouldn't put him over Conrad de la Fuente. But once Gio is moved central, that'll be probably the position for Conrad and Weah to fight for, the right wing. Unless Greg puts Pulisic on the right wing, which I'm okay with as well, even though Pulisic's better on the left wing, and we can have Conrad on the left wing. I'm fine with that as well. My number 5, as I said, is Brendan Harrison. I don't think Brendan is truly a winger, but for the options we have, he's most certainly one of the top ones, and he will be fighting for a position there as well, especially after Gio moves central, which can happen sooner rather than later. All right, now my number 6, which he's also not really a winger, but Greg plays him as a winger. And no, it's not Matthew Hoppe. I'm putting Hoppe on the center forward depth chart because I think Greg will play him there. Greg has mentioned it before. I think he did it because he needed it for the Gold Cup roster that, well, I mean, he built it. But I think Nico Gioacchini is our 6th option on the wing. He has always been very reliable for the U.S. men's national team. Now, he is more of a center forward, as I said. He does not play on the best league. The French second division is definitely no better than MLS, if I'm going to be honest. But every time with the U.S. men's national team has performed very well in friendlies and in Gold Cup. Greg continues to play him on the wing, so I think he'll continue to play at the wing for the United States men's national team. So now let's go to number 7 and number 8 real quick, and then we're going to dive into the center forwards. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button right now. I'll give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and hopefully you did by now. Let's go to number 7. All right, my number 7 is Paul Arriola. And I know, many of you probably will hate me for this, but look, as the 7th option, I think Paul Arriola is fine. And yeah, I don't think he should play or be in the A squad for the men's national team. But as the 7th option, let's be reasonable here. He puts in a high work rate. He's okay when healthy, but he hasn't been healthy for a while. But I'm putting Paul Arriola as our number 7. And our number 8 is Cade Cowell. And yes, you're going to tell me he plays as a center forward. But look, Cade Cowell is not a center forward. He has to play as a winger. He doesn't have a good hold-up game. He's not really a poacher. He's not a target man. He has to play on the wing to use that speed. He's very good at crossing. His crossing ability is very underrated. He needs to make those runs on the sides and hit in sharp crosses. That's how Cade Cowell should play, and I think that's how he will eventually play. And Greg has given some indication of it. If you remember in Gold Cup, when Paul Arriola was injured, he did call into camp Cade Cowell as a possible replacement to Arriola. So I think he does see also Cowell as a probable winger. And that does it for it. Let me read through real quick the 8 options and comment yours down below, and then let's go to the center forwards. So just to recap, here are my 8 options for the wing. Christian Pulisic, Giovanni Reyna is my number 2, Conrad de la Fuente is my number 3, Tim Weah is my number 4, Brendan Harrison my number 5, Nico Gioacchini my number 6, number 7 is Paul Arriola, and number 8 is Cade Cowell. And yeah, I didn't put Chris Miller. I don't think he is U.S. men's national team material right now. He has a lot to prove. He's going to the Scottish League in January, so I didn't want to add him. I'm not going to do honorable mentions, guys. You can comment down below any players that I missed out on. Let's move to the center forwards. All right, now off to the center forwards. And my number 1 pick is still Josh Sargent, now from Norwich, no longer on Werder Bremen. But let's talk. Boy, oh boy, this is a tricky one because the race for the number 9 position is completely open. There's no one clear as of now, and from 1 to 5 pretty much anything can happen. I just think my option number 6 that I'm going to talk about is still far from being a part of this team as of now. So let's go with number 1, which I just said, it's Josh Sargent. So sadly, Sargent is still better as a defender than a center forward or goal scorer at this point. He's better on the center forward defensive duties, but I still think he's our best center forward. He's one of our most technical center forwards. His hold-up game is pretty good. He's in the Premier League now in Norwich, so he continues to get top 5 leagues interest at this point. So my center forward as of now is Josh Sargent. He has a lot to prove, hasn't done much for the U.S. men's national team, and in 2 months when we update this, he might drop. It's his to lose for now, but it's pretty open at this point. So comment yours down below, center forward. I'm actually very interested on how you have the depth chart right now, and trust me, I do read the comments. My number 2 option is Matthew Hoppe. At the time of this recording, he's still a Schalke player. I think he's probably our best poacher. He makes good runs off the ball. He's very technical. He can beat the defender to dribble. He does struggle sometimes to create opportunities for himself, but he's also very good on creating opportunities for his teammates. So I think he can work very well and combine with players like Giovanni Reyna, Pulisic, and maybe Conrad de la Fuente, or even Timothy Weah, making those hard runs behind the back line. So I think Hoppe is an option to consider at the center forward. I think he brings in the good attitude as well that we do need in this team. I would be okay with putting him ahead of Josh Sargent. I just wouldn't do it right now because we need to see a little bit more about Matthew Hoppe, but he's my number 2 option for the time being. My third option is Pfuck, or aka Siabachu. He used to be. I still have to remind people because many times they ask, who's Pfuck? Now look, I do have some issues with his mobility. He's very static at times in games. His hold-up game is not the best. It seemed okay at certain games, but sometimes it seemed a little off. He has a lot of strength and good presence in the box, but his technique is just not there yet. For young boys, he has been performance. He can be useful, but I can easily see him dropping on the depth chart throughout World Cup qualifying in the next few months. All right, now my fourth and fifth options are still fighting for a position right there. One of them is somewhat controversial, but I'm putting him there anyway because I think in regards to performances, he did all right in Gold Cup. So my fourth option is Jassy Zardes, and my fifth option is Daryl DK, and that one's very close as well. But look, DK did not outplay Zardes in Gold Cup. And I mean, we could argue that DK wasn't healthy throughout Gold Cup. He was dealing with a few injuries and still playing through them. So yes, that could have played a factor. We'll have to observe a little more, get a larger sample. But look, both of these players, their first touch is off. They're definitely not the top options. They could fight for it, but they're not the top options. And remember, guys, first touch is everything. Jassy Zardes. Last but not least, my sixth option is Ricardo Pepi from FC Dallas. And I know, what can change in a few months is Ricardo Pepi might just join L3. Herc Gomez has reported that L3 has been reaching out to him and even promising him a spot in World Cup, in the World Cup next year. So maybe Ricardo Pepi will shift, maybe he won't. Right now, he's number 6 on my depth chart because as of now, he is a US men's national team player. Is L3 trying to do another predatory cap tie? I don't know. We'll find out very soon. Hopefully not. I think Pepi's a great talent. Hopefully we can keep him. If not, so be it. We're going to have to move on forward without him. But hopefully he stays because we are counting on this major talent becoming a great player. That said, let me recap the 6 players on the center forward while you comment yours down below. And remember, this is our depth chart, even though we're using kind of like what Greg has been using the players in their position. But remember, Greg has been prioritizing technical center forwards, which gives an advantage to certain players. Let me go through my list real quick, comment yours down below, and hit the like button, and we're about to wrap up the video. So to recap my center forward list, I have Josh Sargent as our number 1 still, Matthew Hoppe as the number 2 center forward option, Pfuck as the number 3, Jassy Zardes as the number 4, Daryl DK as the number 5, and Ricardo Pepi as the number 6. Alright everyone, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this series. We're going to be updating them in 2 months. Remember, it's a 3-episode series every 2 months. We do have the playlist, so go watch the defense one, go watch the midfield one. I want to thank you all very much for watching and for being patient to dealing with me for this long, and have a great day.